everybody, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I wanted to do something fun, so I thought I would do some K-pop superlatives. I actually thought of this idea originally for my old channel, but I never got around to doing it, so I thought I would put it here since I do want to create more diverse content than just like top 10 videos all the time. If you don't know what superlatives are, they're basically like things that they do for like high school yearbooks, for example, where people will vote for someone under different categories. So like class clown or best dressed or most likely to succeed and things like that. And I thought it would be fun to kind of pick some K-pop idols that I think apply to each one. But I just want to clarify that I know there are so many idols that would apply to each one of these. And I could probably remake this video like 20 times and use all different idols for each one without repeating any. But these were just the ones that I kind of thought of first because I thought that was the most fair way to go about it. So ones who popped into my mind first when I read the superlative category, or just ones that I think apply to it the most. I thought that would be like the best way to do it. If you disagree with any of them, that's totally fine, but please be nice about it. I'm always willing to hear other people's side of arguments as long as it's mature and not me being yelled at. Feel free to put your list of who you think applies to each superlative in the comments, or even make your own video. I think that would be fun. Maybe make this like a tag that people can do and you can say, I tagged you. I don't know if I'm like the very first person to ever do a video like this. Probably not. YouTube has so many videos, but maybe I'm the first one to make it into a tag. I don't know. First superlative category is most outspoken / most outgoing, and no one idol specifically popped into mind for this, but I thought Jackson from GOT7 fit it really well, even though I wouldn't necessarily call him like the most outgoing idol. He's very outgoing and just very, you know, open to people when he first meets them, and I think that's kind of what outgoing or outspoken kind of is. Plus he also speaks his mind, like no matter what. He always has something to say, so I thought that was a good fit for this one. The second superlative category is class clown, and there was one idol that specifically popped into my mind. Nobody really did other than this one, and it was Shindong from Super Junior. Whether or not you are a fan of Shindong or Super Junior in general, I think you probably know that Shindong is batshit crazy. Like, he is one of the goofiest people. He's so bright and just like brings this positive energy with him wherever he goes, and I think that's definitely what a class clown is. They're willing to make a fool of themselves to make other people laugh, and that's like 100% Shindong. The third superlative category is best hair, and now this one, this is honestly so subjective and like kind of a personal preference kind of a choice. Like, I don't think there's any one person that comes to mind for everyone, so my choice was Hwasa from Mamamoo because her hair is just like always gorgeous. I don't think I've ever seen her with a color or a cut that looks bad on her, and it always looks so healthy and just beautiful, and I want to touch it. The fourth superlative category is best dressed / most fashionable, and there were a couple of idols that popped into mind all at the same time when I read this one. I wanted to pick the one that was like the most representative of their personality, like how they dress perfectly represents them, and they dress for themselves and nobody else, and that was Heechul from Super Junior. I know, another Super Junior member. I'm sorry. I can't help it, but Heechul is just like the embodiment of I don't give a fuck when it comes to the way he dresses. Like, he dresses the way he wants to, and there was a show that he did with Hani from EXID, Bora from Sister, and then there was someone else, I think. I can't remember who exactly, but it was all about fashion, and they explained Heechul's like thought process when creating outfits, and I just found it so interesting. Another idol who popped into my mind for this was Key from SHINee, because he's a little fashion diva as well. The fifth superlative category is usually most likely to succeed, but I decided to change it because that makes it seem like which group won't fail, and I don't really like that. So I changed it to next big thing, and I chose ATEEZ. And I've talked about this in a separate video, so I won't go too far in depth with it, but I have said so many times that I think ATEEZ is like set to be the next big group in K-pop. And like when I say next big thing, I mean like BTS or now NCT, like international popularity. I think ATEEZ has what it takes to get there. And if you don't know ATEEZ, I recommend checking them out, just saying. The sixth superlative category is best laugh. And I know, again, there are so many idols that apply to this, and I had a hard time picking just one. Originally, I had another idol in mind, but something had to change my mind and made it incredibly difficult. But I ultimately decided on Lucas from NCT, just because I find his laugh so funny to listen to, and it's kind of different depending on how he's laughing, if that makes any sense. Like, he has this really high-pitched like giggle that he does, and then he has this really goofy laugh, and I just think it's hilarious. Originally I was gonna choose Chanla from NCT, but he hasn't been able to do his iconic dolphin laugh since puberty, so that's unfortunate. I did also consider Heechul for this one because he has an amazing laugh, and Tao previously from EXO, but he's not a K-pop idol, so I didn't want to muddy that water too much. The seventh superlative category is best smile, and again, this one is so subjective. Like, any one person could have their favorite smile and the next person will have a totally different one, but I chose one that kind of randomly just stood out to me as I was going through idols, and I chose Wano from Monsta X because I just think his smile is so cute and like makes you want to smile and just makes you feel really happy just by looking at it. At least that's how I feel. And again, there are like so many idols with iconic smiles that totally fit into this category, so I get it if people don't agree with it. The eighth superlative category is most changed. I think this one will be like most changed since debut to make it more K-pop related. And I think a lot of idols have really changed a lot since their debut, and again, it can kind of be subjective how much you think somebody has changed. Like, some people think just because an idol hit puberty and their face kind of shifted a little bit that they've had plastic surgery. But I chose overall just a change in like how they carry themselves and their confidence and like kind of how they look, but also just the air around them. I chose Bam Bam from GOT7. If you look at pictures of Bam Bam now compared to like debut and even pre-debut a little bit, he's like a totally matured, grown-up version of himself. I think that's really cool. I don't notice so much of a change in other people, but I remember when Bam Bam struggled because everybody still saw him as this little cute like tiny person because he hadn't really shot up there yet. He was shorter than Yugyeom, and he was just like this little, you wanted to pinch his cheeks kind of cutie, and now he's like this, you know, bone structure on point, like beautiful person, and he's so much more confident with himself, and just I think he's changed a lot, and I think he deserves to be recognized for how far he's come. The ninth superlative category was a hard one, and it is most athletic. And there are a lot of idols who actually started out as athletes and then became idols, or they're still very athletic as idols. So saying that there's one who's more than the others is a little hard, but I chose Minhyuk from B2B because he's often praised for his athletic abilities because he is such a fit and just active person in general. The 10th superlative category is best bromance. Now, I do not ship idols personally romantically myself, but I do enjoy a good bromance, as in like two any male or female idols that are friends. I don't know what the female version of a bromance would be, but I enjoy when they're friends and they hang out and they have a good time and you can see how much fun they have together. And there are so many iconic like friendships out there that it was honestly hard to just pick one, but I decided on one that I consider like an OG bromance. So I picked Kai from EXO and Taemin from SHINee because they're just like the cutest little best friend duo ever, and there are so many examples of moments where they're just hanging out and having a good time and just being friends and like congratulating each other at award shows and stuff like that. So that was my choice. Another duo I considered was Eunhyuk and Donghae from Super Junior, but I didn't want to include too many Super Junior members because that's just not fair. The 11th superlative category is Best Entertainer, and I immediately thought of Heetook from Super Junior, but I let myself kind of review other idols as a whole rather than just being entertaining, which is what I think Heetook is. He's also very talented, but he popped into my mind because I thought of like him being an MC, and I didn't want to just include that alone. So I looked over other idols who have many different talents and are just like a big bundle of, you know. And I decided on Lay from EXO because I think he's got everything, and honestly he's like a one-man show. He can play instruments, he can sing, he can dance, he can rap a little bit, you know, he can act. He just does so much, and I never get bored of seeing the things that he comes out with. So the 12th superlative category is Biggest Flirt, and there was one idol in specific that I thought of for this one, and I even typed in like K-pop idol biggest flirt kind of thing into Google to see what other people said, and a lot of people agreed with me. I chose Jonghan from 17, and it's funny because one of the forums that I was reading was talking about him being a flirt, and literally what they said about him was he would flirt with a rock. Like, that's how flirty he is. And I genuinely agree. He's such a flirty person. And I know there's other idols that are probably flirty, but I don't really think anybody can beat Jonghan. The 13th superlative category is Most Clumsy, and literally I was driving myself crazy because I knew there was an idol, and I knew it was a female, who was known for being super clumsy, but I could not think of their name. So again, I googled it, and Hani from EXID came up, and I was like, yes, that's exactly who it was. And honestly, I feel like I don't have to really talk about it that much because almost any time you see Hani, she's doing something to either hurt herself or spill something, or just, honestly, she's just clumsy in general. I also considered Namjoon from BTS because he's known as like the Lord of Destruction, I think is what he was called back in the day. I don't quite remember. And also Onu from SHINee is known for being kind of a klutz, so those are two honorable mentions. The 14th superlative category is future CEO, and it's just kind of a person that you think has the ability to run their own company because they are just smart and savvy and just all around a business person. Did that make any sense? I don't know. I chose Dino from 17, another 17 member I didn't realize I chose. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I respect Dino so much. At such a young age, he was so driven and ambitious to do what he wanted for a living, and I think he has what it takes to run his own company someday, like his own management company even. And the last two I decided to just kind of include because they're also a thing that is done in school that people vote for, and I thought it would be fun. So I did Prom King and Prom Queen, and literally just chose the two idols that popped into my head when I thought of like a prom queen and a prom king being like popular and liked, and usually, and just beautiful and an embodiment of who other people kind of look up to, I guess. For prom king, I chose Taeyang from NCT, and I chose for prom queen Taeyeon from SNSD. Wow, they're just a true couple, aren't they? They're the Tay-Tay couple. So I didn't mean to include so many SM artists in this, but I am an SM stan. I admit it. So, I mean, I tried to have as much diversity as possible, but for prom king and prom queen, Taeyeon and Taeyoung, I think people know them, people respect them, people love them, people are attracted to them, and they're just these super humble and nice people that I think anyone would look up to, you know, and respect. Did I say respect? So that is all for this video. I hope it was somewhat interesting to watch. Again, there's just the ones that came to mind first. I don't know every idol out there. I know there were not a lot of females on my list of superlatives, but that, again, I'm not as familiar with girl groups as I am boy groups. I am working on it though. So, thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video.